be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important bill. This bill was is a National Assembly bill, actually, number 72 of 2023, which our colleagues in the National Assembly have considered and duly now forwarded here to the Senate for consideration. Mr. Speaker, this bill, by and large, in a nutshell, seeks to establish properly in statute this state corporation. As it is today, this government agency is actually set up only under legal notice. I think legal notice number 12 of 2004. And it's a very important government agency, Mr. Speaker. You know that population is not a very small matter in this country. There has been controversy. Even as we speak today, Mr. Speaker, you know that the last census of 2019, I think, certain sections of it were actually successfully challenged in court. And today, even as we do division of revenue and government planning and all those things, Mr. Speaker, many of those things actually are just being guided by, I think, guesswork. Because what do you do in the sense that a population census has been carried out, challenged in court, Mr. Speaker, and I'm disappointed that there were no sanctions to the particular officers. If the court was convinced that either figures were inflated or the census was not carried out accordingly, Mr. Speaker, then the duty-bound officers, the people who undertook that exercise, if the court indeed agreed, Mr. Speaker, that there was interference from mandarins from I don't know where, Mr. Speaker, then there should have been sanctions on those public officers. You know, the problem in this country, Mr. Speaker, is that there are never sanctions for individuals who bungle public exercises. You will cancel an election, you will cancel maybe a title that was allotted, you will cancel a certain transaction, but there has never been a decision. And I wish that we had more bold judges in our judiciary who will actually look at civil servants who participate in such exercises that end up costing taxpayers money and send them to jail, so that people begin to appreciate that when you are charged with the responsibility of being a public officer, Mr. Speaker, you take it seriously and do justice in the interest of the people. Mr. Speaker, that was just a small deviation, because I thought about the people that come specifically, say, from those counties that are affected by the ruling on the population census of 2019, Mr. Speaker, and the anxiety and injustice that they continue to suffer today, so long as the government has never provided remedial measures on how to resolve that particular matter. And the courts also, in their wisdom or lack of it, as they say, Mr. Speaker, never gave direction actually on how that matter needs to be handled, or at least none that I'm aware of. Probably, maybe it may have been spoken. It's not a matter that I've followed closer to the detail. Therefore, this council, Mr. Speaker, is a very important council, because, like we said, Senate as a house and the national government needs to pay close attention to this. Each time we discuss the annual division of revenue, and more particularly once every 5 years, Mr. Speaker, when we do the basis for revenue sharing across a county, we look at all these matrices, including population survey, Mr. Speaker, poverty index, and all these matters. The information that we use, Mr. Speaker, is provided for us by credible government agencies like Kenya Bureau of Statistics, Mr. Speaker, and Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and such agencies. This will be one such agency, Mr. Speaker, where on matters to do with the population survey and development, they will have a say. But, Mr. Speaker, it's my hope that their research and findings and studies will not just gather dust in government offices. You know, Mr. Speaker, I am proud of the work that this House, and it's only that people don't follow the work of Senate quite closely. It was this House, Mr. Speaker, that made a decision in 2016, for example. Previously, you know, on conditional grants, Senator Kajwang may remember this, that somebody will sit at Treasury and allocate projects haphazardly without no basis or reference to any particular order. It took the decision of this Senate, Mr. Speaker, through their Finance Committee to say no to the National Treasury and decide that there has to be a structured way in which conditional grants are sent equally and equitably to all the 47 counties of the country. That is a kind of decision-making that we expect from bodies such as this, Mr. Speaker, that their decisions will lead us actually so that you have a fully prosperous country, Mr. Speaker, without due consideration to any other political affiliation. The unfortunate thing, Mr. Speaker, is that for the last 60 years, and this is a reality which nobody can challenge, is that there is a clear indication that regions that have produced either presidents or senior government officials have benefited unduly to the exclusion of regions, certain regions of the country. It is because we have not mastered the art, Mr. Speaker, of looking our country as an entire unit, that we still consider that even matters development, Mr. Speaker, are issues of political considerations. And it is a difficult conversation which, unfortunately, the country must have. Even now, as we speak today, you know, there has been a very ugly spat of late, led by a very incompetent fellow that we kicked out by an impeachment vote in this House, Mr. Speaker, trying to besmirch, Mr. Speaker, the leadership from Northern Kenya. Mr. Speaker, that debate cannot be had in full without due consideration of where the entire 100% of the budget has gone over the years, Mr. Speaker. We can speak about CDF. You can speak about equitable share, Mr. Speaker, but that is barely 20%. What about the 80%, Mr. Speaker? That is a conversation that needs to be had as a country, looking at Kenya as an entire republic and knowing that there are regions that have been undermined by successive regimes, Mr. Speaker, and that is why we have all those details. In this bill, Mr. Speaker, because I mentioned that this bill actually is one to anchor this board in law, Mr. Speaker, so that they do all those things, responsibilities that have been listed, Mr. Speaker, asking this board what are the objectives, for example, of the council, which is to be the focal point on matters relating to population and development, review and coordinate implementation of national population policy at regular intervals. Mr. Speaker, I don't like the language that is used here. I have to be precise. And I hope the committee that looks into this matter, I don't know which committee will eventually, I think this must be Labour. And I saw Senator Murgor earlier, but he's not here, Mr. Speaker. They must get the submissions from, Mr. Speaker, the national government on which body will eventually carry out the national census and what will be then the responsibility of this board, Mr. Speaker, complete with clarity, because the language that is used here doesn't provide specificity on this particular topic, Mr. Speaker. Because when you say you are a focal point, Mr. Speaker, what do you mean? What is the relationship between this and KNBS, Mr. Speaker? Will they do it jointly? Will one oversight the other? What is the relation, Mr. Speaker? These are matters which I hope by the time we are doing the third reading of this bill, the Labour Committee will have guided us as a House to properly understand the placing of this council, Mr. Speaker, complete with all the reason that the members of this council requested. Mr. Speaker, Section 8, not 8 actually, Section 9 is where I want to spend a little bit of time. Actually 8, Mr. Speaker. There must be a different way of doing things. Many times when bills come to this House, the national government, true to its function, and I have said the state law office, and it's unfortunate because that is an office where the heart and the breadth of this constitution, Mr. Speaker, should be more alive than any other institution. But matters devolution are dead at the state law office. And this is something that I have raised with none other than the Attorney General on many occasions. If you see how they draft this legislation, Mr. Speaker, when you read the list of the members of this board, you can clearly see that this is not somebody who appreciates that there are two levels of government. And I don't know what it will take for the drafters of such legislation, Mr. Speaker, who sit at the national drafting desk at the state law office, Mr. Speaker, to appreciate that there are two levels of government. When you send us a bill, of course they know that many times they will be lucky to skim through if particularly a determination is made that that bill does not concern counties and therefore it's considered by our colleagues in the National Assembly. And I also don't know up to when our colleagues in the National Assembly will learn to live and appreciate that there are two levels of government, despite the fact, Mr. Speaker, because there has been an erroneous interpretation that so long as a matter touches on devolution, it is of no concern to the National Assembly. It's quite unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, because all these members of the National Assembly, they come from certain counties. By continuously undermining devolution, Mr. Speaker, and being supported by our colleagues in the National Assembly who pass laws such as this, because this bill has already gone through the 349 members of the National Assembly, and none has been able to pick out and say, you cannot constitute such a board in the 21st century in a country where we have the 2010 Constitution, Mr. Speaker. It tells you that many of them don't exercise their mind appropriately to appreciate, Mr. Speaker, that there is an important role that our devolved units carry on and for on behalf of the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this board eventually, when the Committee on Labor sits on this particular, I expect that they will rejig it properly, Mr. Speaker, ensure that there is good representation of our county governments, including the various agencies and institutions that appreciate the 2010 Constitution and how it's supposed to work. Otherwise, this continuous drafting, because you can clearly see that many of these bills, Mr. Speaker, somebody lazily sits on their desk, Mr. Speaker, approves, edits, copies and pastes, Mr. Speaker, and concludes on that particular business. Mr. Speaker, when I refer to the State Law Office, don't get very worried. I know you have close relations in that particular office, but I know she works in a different office, not this particular one. This is a different one, because I have seen how you're looking at me when I mentioned the State Law Office, Mr. Speaker. This is a different one who needs to, and in fact, at the next conference, where we bring together national government and the Senate, the AG needs to address us specifically on this particular matter and the refusal by her officers to appreciate the fact that 2010 Constitution radically changed institutions and how they are represented. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, that is something that needs to be done. You know, Part H is an interesting one. There are 3 persons who shall be nominated by the Forum of Religious Organization, consisting of the Secretary General of Supreme Four, Council of Kenya Muslims, Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, Hindu, National Christian Churches of Kenya and Evangelical Alliance, provided that not more than one shall be appointed by the Cabinet Secretary from one organization. It's okay. At least this is a bit descriptive, because it speaks to the Muslims through SUPKEM and the various major denominations of the Christian faith, which is the Catholics, the Evangelicals Alliance, Mr. Speaker, and the Hindu Council, Mr. Speaker. But I don't think we have reached here, Mr. Speaker, where we can define, because you know this country very well, and I have nothing against Catholics like Mutata. I know he's a member of the Catholic faith and maybe many others. But when you compare one of the major denominations to the exclusions of the other, the Anglicans, for example, might arise in protest. I don't know which church Senator Kajwang goes to, Mr. Speaker. Oh, he's an Adventist, yes, I've just remembered. For example, the Adventist is a very major denomination with churches spread across the country. I don't know what is the total population of the Adventists vis-a-vis the Catholics, the Anglicans, for example. Therefore, this proposal that is being put here to mention a specific church denomination, Mr. Speaker, may give us trouble, unless we had a religious council that will give us the censors to establish. I prefer the previous mode of drafting, because we have done other laws, the IBC law and so many others, where we have just left it to the interreligious council to sit down amongst themselves and make a determination. But to pick a specific major denomination, in this instance, the Catholic Church, Mr. Speaker, may put us in trouble with the rest of the denomination. Because, Mr. Speaker, they say to name one is to exclude others. And that is something that we need to perhaps bring a better understanding. And when members of the Labour Committee, I don't know if they're in the House this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, sit to consider that particular matter, that is an item that they need to address this House on, so that we are clear about it, Mr. Speaker, on what is the response by the other religious bodies on that kind of inclusion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to belabor the point because, like I had mentioned, the rest are actually statutory matters about the responsibilities of the Director General, the Corporation Secretary, Mr. Speaker, and the usual stuff about within a period of 3 months from the end of financial year, submit to the Auditor General, the Council, statements and the rest, Mr. Speaker, and all these other things that continue, Mr. Speaker, to form part and parcel of our legislative forming duties. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it's a good bill, important, but there are various areas of concern which I have raised, Mr. Speaker, that I hope that when Labour Committee sits to consider this bill, they can furnish us with a good report. This is quite important, given the issues that have surrounded, Mr. Speaker, distribution of resources across the country. For example, Mr. Speaker, that today, as we sit here, much as we did for the county governments, the issue of conditional grants, our colleagues in the National Assembly have never made a similar pronouncement on national issues, Mr. Speaker, particularly where public officers have the discretion to determine where to place certain government projects, Mr. Speaker. What is a guiding factor in making that particular decision? There are many times, Mr. Speaker, where you find an officer sits at a government office because they come from Kericho, then they determine, they're supposed to be built something here. You take it to Kericho. Sometimes even programs that have got absolutely nothing to do with the regions that they come from, but out of just this desire, wanting to maybe be popular or I don't know, do what, many institutions actually, and there are regions that have suffered under that kind of political patronage over the years, Mr. Speaker. The Ministry of Health, I don't know which other ministry, Mr. Speaker, National Treasury as well. This council will address such matters, Mr. Speaker, and it is important that we give it the sufficient powers to ensure that we spread development evenly across the country. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the Senator for Nandi, Senator Samson Cherargei to second.
Senator Cherargei, as you take the mic, the Leader of Majority, I take comfort in the assurance that you gave as regards those who are doing the drafting from the Office of the Attorney General and their responsibility to make sure they do the right thing. I'm sure the AG is listening and will definitely take responsibility